Hi, I'm Renarta Moyd, the Chief Communications Officer of the Cumberland County Schools and your host of Get Connected. Now, during this monthly show, we highlight numerous educational topics that face today's student, educator, and parent in the Cumberland County Schools. Now, it's that time of year when things are hopping in the Cumberland County Schools Human Resources Department. The school system is actively seeking individuals who truly want to positively impact the lives of our children. Now, after this break, we'll talk with representatives from the HR department about who they're recruiting to help mold the minds of our young people on this edition of Get Connected.
And then from this angle, it all makes a star.
I'm a teacher. Let me tell you what I make. I make learning a privilege, not a chore.
Show up
and frustration, a tool, not an obstacle. I make working hard seem easy and giving up impossible.
And then we're going to turn the lights and everybody look up.
I make an old subject feel like a fresh thought.
Finally won.
What's your reaction?
Yeah!
Yeah, exactly.
And unconventional methods
Okay, what else?
common.
This is their world.
There's nothing.
And then they die. Go ahead, go, go, go.
I'm a teacher. I make more.
We appreciate you joining us for this edition of Get Connected. We're discussing the Cumberland County Schools recruitment efforts in its quest to find the best and brightest to shape the minds of our children. Now, joining us to discuss this timely topic is Mr. Ruben Reyes, who is the Associate Superintendent of Human Resources in the school district. Ruben, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
You know, it's been, what, about 6 years now since you've been on here with me?
Yeah, you're right, about 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah, and at that time you were Executive Director of Exceptional Children, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So now you're HR Director, HR Associate Superintendent.
Yeah.
So you're enjoying?
I am. Most of the time, I think things are going well.
They are. I think you're doing a wonderful job.
Well, thank you.
Now, just want to talk a bit about recruitment.
Okay.
Because, I mean, you guys are really busy at this time of the year.
That's correct.
Trying to bring in the best and the brightest.
Yes.
Okay. About how many teachers do we employ through the Cumberland County Schools?
Well, the district has roughly 3,000 certified employees. So when I say certified, I'm talking about all of your, not only your teachers, but your guidance counselors, your school social workers, your school psychologists, literacy coaches. So anyone that's, that has a certification to teach or to do a particular position within the district.
Okay. And then there are other classes of employment as well. So that's certified.
And then we have our classified employees. So
Classified.
typically these are your clerical staff, teacher assistants, your folks that are working in the operations sector. And that makes up another 3,000 to 3,500 employees that we have in our district.
And now our viewers may not necessarily know what the operations center is. So when you say the operations center, you mean those who do what types of things?
Well, you have your folks that work with technology, your maintenance staff that are like doing HVAC, roofing, your also your transportation staff, so your mechanics, your bus drivers, your technicians that work in both the transportation sector and also within the technology sector.
And you know, it blows my mind to think that we almost have like a little city here, you know, within our system. I mean, we have people who can, you know, work on the AC and the heating, but then also plumbing, but then also teachers and prime time, you know, and it's just amazing that we hire so many individuals.
It takes a lot of individuals to run a district, not just the teaching side of it, but then the operational side, you know, with 87 school buildings, not to mention your other outposts that we have within the district. You have to have folks that maintain those buildings and maintain the kind of the inner working, the things behind the scenes that you don't necessarily see on a day-to-day basis.
That's good. And I think a lot of times when people think of education and they tend in employment, they tend to think that teachers, but it's always the staff in the back that kind of helps keep things moving, where our teachers can be on that front line working with our young people.
Yeah, and I think you know, everyone within the district plays an important role in the education of students, because you know, if you're in July and it's 105 degrees outside, you have to have air conditioning so people are comfortable and they can learn. You want to have clean, inviting buildings. You want to have you know, the teacher assistants who are in the buildings that are really instructional assistants. So they're not just making copies and doing some of the things that a lot of people think that your TAs are doing. They're really working with kids, remediating students, and working either in one-on-one in small groups, doing some instructional delivery.
That's good. Now, when we go back and we talk about what our teachers are doing in our schools, what are we doing to attract people to this field?
I think from a recruitment standpoint, to get them to Cumberland County, what we're doing is we're you know, marketing efforts to kind of put ourselves out there. In terms of incentives to get folks here, you know, we work with some of our outlying businesses, such as through the Work Perks program that our communication department works with, also with PwC and Lumbee River Electric. We have a program where we do deposit waivers for new employees. We also work with various apartments and the apartment association to try to get discounts for our staff members, either waiving deposits or waiving application fees, or maybe discounted deposits. Things of that nature. Also, we also have a program where we do some employee assistance, where we'll allow your first year teachers in the district to get a salary advance of up to $2,000. This helps them kind of get set up.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And what they do is they pay that back over their first year, so we don't charge any interest. That's something that is a good way to get people into the district, help them get them on their feet, while at the same time is a good recruiting measure for us.
That's good. Now, you all are constantly recruiting throughout the year, but I know that you all have gone through have been doing a lot of job fairs and some other things. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, we start actually recruiting almost as soon as one recruiting cycle ends, we start in the next recruiting cycle. So we're constantly recruiting using our social media tools and what I call kind of more of a passive recruitment, using our website and some social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter, and working with various organizations that have websites that we can use to post positions that we have in the district. But we also have a very robust recruiting plan that we start in the fall, reaching out to our student teachers that are coming into the district. So, you know, your candidates that are getting very close to graduation, they're in our district doing their field experience. And so what we try to do is reach out and develop relationships with those individuals, in the hopes that by the time they're winding down, that we're able to find them positions and we're able to recruit them to stay longer within our district. But then also working with our institutions of higher learning. So your local universities like Fayetteville State, Methodist, and even Pembroke, and Campbell, we have a lot of students that do their student teaching here within the district. But then we're also out on site. You know, a lot of those universities will invite local districts in to come talk with their students. So kind of either job fairs or giving us the opportunity to present to their students. And so we're always trying to plug what we have going on here in Cumberland County.
Do we go out of state and pull?
We do. Really, our out-of-state recruiting really ramps up after Christmas. We'll go to Pennsylvania, Ohio, New York. Those are states that we tend to have a very good track record of recruiting staff from there. But then we also recruit internationally. Tonya Page, the HR director, went to England this year on a recruiting trip. You know, we have over 240 international teachers working in the district. So we're out recruiting them from Jamaica, China, South America, your South American countries and England and that area as well. So not just here in North Carolina or the United States, kind of internationally.
And that helps even the minds of our young people to be able to be exposed to people from other cultures and to have that opportunity as well.
That's correct. I think it fits within our mission as a district to be globally competitive. And to do that, you really have to not only have a focus on global education and international education, but it also helps to have employees and that have that cultural background that can share that with our students.
You know what, Ruben, I want to ask you something real quickly. What are some of the challenges that you tend to face recruiting in this particular field?
Well, I think number one, the teacher education programs, their enrollment has decreased. We have less students that are graduating high school and deciding to go into education. When they go to college, they tend to gravitate towards your business or your engineering types of fields. And part of that is, number one, just the pay. I think, from a teaching standpoint, that's one thing that I always say, you're not going to become a millionaire being a teacher. Right. So that's one of those things that you have to overcome, because the pool of teachers that are graduating just isn't what it used to be, just 5 years ago. And then I also think that the increased exposure that a lot of our teachers see, within the media, a lot of times, the negative things tend to be portrayed more in the media than some of the positive things that are going on within school systems. And whether it's a negative story about just the turnover rate and satisfaction of teaching, or even some of these things where you see people making decisions that are making bad decisions that
they're good people.
Yeah,
just make bad decisions.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
And so you see that out in the media, and a lot of folks say, well, as teachers, you're under the microscope every day. You've got, if you're an elementary teacher, you have between 20 and 25 kids that you're with all day long. Middle school and high school teachers, they have a lot more students that they're working with, but you're always under the microscope, and it's long hours, and when the bell ends, that doesn't mean their day ends. There's grading papers. There's a lot of things that the general public doesn't see, but they hear about those things. Right. But the way we counteract that is saying, the fulfillment that you get from working with kids.
Impacting the lives of kids.
Yes.
That's what it's all about. You know what? I know our producer's probably going to yell at me, but I want to just get you really quickly. One quick pitch to those that are out there watching that are contemplating maybe going into education, and why they should come and be a part of the Cumberland County Schools.
Well, I think if you are a teacher or someone that's in a teacher training program, or even someone that has a college degree who may not have ever thought about teaching, we have a very large number of lateral entry teachers. So these are folks who go to school to do something else, and then they realize, well, I may have an interest in teaching. It's a very fulfilling field to be in. If you say, you want to impact the lives of the next generation, and you talk about the fact that, societally, you're seeing all of these negative things in the news, and you say you want to make a difference. How better to make a difference than to impact the lives of the next generation, and to make sure that you're taken care of and your kids are taken care of in the upcoming years by impacting the future leaders of our nation. And you do that by working in education.
I want to get up and say amen. That's great, Ruben. Thank you so very much. We'll have to have you back, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, then. Well, don't go anywhere. Stick around for more Get Connected.
Morning, Gary. We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you?
You know you do.
Yeah, but I don't know where to start. That's why we're here. We're free, handsome,
I think we're breathtaking.
and here to guide you through every step of the way, starting with attendance. Gary, financial aid forms. Biology homework, G. I got this.
Is that Bran?
Colleges love extracurricular activities.
Chess really isn't my thing.
I got this. Doesn't matter. Go ahead. Picking a college, man. You and us. We go together like tacos and Tuesday.
And I love tacos.
Fire and ice.
Those don't really go together. Go to getschool.com for more info.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education? What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else? Or will you dare do something different? Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher. You got the skills. The smarts? Yes, you. You could be the teacher I never forget. That'd be cool. Does that corporate job even have recess? What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
Thanks for joining us for this edition of Get Connected. We're talking about recruitment efforts in the Cumberland County Schools and our quest to find individuals who truly want to positively impact the lives of children. Now, for this half of the show, Ms. Tonya Page, the Director of Human Resources, and Ms. Sharon, President, the Supervisor of Classified Personnel, are here with me. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's right. So you guys work with Ruben, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. And y'all have an awesome team over in that HR building.
Yes. Yes, we do.
Yeah, y'all humming along. Just humming along. I'm like, oh, let me just tip in and tip out. But it's that time of year where things are just really busy for you guys.
Yes, it is extremely busy.
Yeah, and with that, I know Ruben was just saying how there's so many different efforts, different ways that you all are really out there trying to bring people into the school system who, you know, think highly of our young people, want to impact their lives. Tell me, what are some other, I know there are a lot of different ways that you all are doing your recruitment and you're doing your interviews and those types of things. Not the way we used to do them, but a lot different.
Right. We use a lot of technology now, which is really interesting, and it's helpful when we're trying to recruit from out of state. Mm-hmm. For example, we do virtual job fairs now.
Well, okay, stop. Virtual job fairs?
Yes. Virtual job fairs.
Yeah, go on, explain. I'm sorry, Tonya, I interrupted.
Well, what we can do is we put out the flyers so that the applicants can contact us if they're interested, and we set up a time for them. And then we use video, which is similar to Skype. Mm-hmm. And so they're able to do it at their location. Most times it's in their home so that they're comfortable. And then what we can do is we record it, and then we send it out to all the principals in Cumberland County so that we're getting their name out there to the schools. And they're also getting a 15-minute interview to get their name out there and kind of tell about themselves and where they're coming from and what interests that they have. And we have a lot of principals that use that to offer jobs to them right then. So it does make it extremely helpful instead of having to travel those distances.
Now, what if you all have an individual in that session that just really blows it out of the water and it's just really impressive? Then you have 5 or 6 principals who, what, do they try to woo that particular individual?
They will. They will all make an offer, and then it's up to the individual that wants to do the research on the different schools and what they have to offer, and then they can make that decision. And often we'll offer early contracts. If it's somebody that I'm doing the interview with and it just goes really well, I'll go ahead and offer them an early contract, send their information out to the schools will make an offer, and then the applicant gets to decide where they want to go.
That is wonderful. Mm-hmm. Now, I know once, let's say you've gone through this process, you've been hired to come to wonderful Cumberland County, mm-hmm. Yes. Cumberland County Schools. What are we doing once that individual gets here to kind of help them along the way so that they feel a part of our system, they feel comfortable with what they're doing and those types of things?
Well, we have a great support department, our beginning teacher support department. They offer a lot of PD to them, professional development. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that's extremely helpful is they will pair them with a retired teacher who is a peer mentor, mm-hmm. who is actually able to go out into those classrooms and be by their side to provide that support when something may come up that they need some assistance with. So it's a very, very strong program because we want them to be successful and we want them to stay in Cumberland County.
Good. That is great. And we have, you said, beginner support too.
Yes.
Support. Okay.
Beginning teacher support.
That is great. Now, I know, President, we don't want to leave you out of the conversation here. You work with another aspect of employees or a group of employees here in our system.
I work with our classified employees, and We do a lot of traditional things as far as trying to pull in our classified employees, our teacher assistants, bus drivers, our clerical staff. We participate in a job fair with the Department of Social Services twice a year. We advertise with our social media, Twitter, Facebook. Cumberland County Schools, we advertise all of our positions on our website as well.
That's good. And I know that even though, I know Ruben and I talked about this the first half, even though these individuals are not necessarily on the front line, now our teacher assistants are, but some of the other individuals, it's still important that they want to be there for our young people.
Absolutely. And we also have to pull our substitute teachers in that realm too. So they are performing substantial work in the absence of a teacher. So we have to constantly recruit for that side of the personnel aspect as well.
Now, you know, I'll bump into in the community from time to time people who are, you know, they'll say, I don't know why people just assume that I work in HR. Why is that? But anyway, nonetheless, they'll say, you all have jobs. And I'm like, well, yeah, definitely go to our website and check it out, you know, and I'm sure you'll see something there that may very well fit you. But then they'll go to that thing of, well, then I'll just see if I can be a substitute. Like that's just, but gone are the days of just coming in and sitting and just babysitting the class.
Yes, absolutely. You just can't go to the class and think that you're gonna put some movie on and let the kids just sit back and watch a movie, because we have so many situations where kids will see things done inappropriately, and what would they do? They'll put it on social media. So we're looking for strong people who want to be a dynamic force in the classroom.
Yeah, and follow through with the teacher's plans.
Absolutely.
Enforce the discipline using commonsensical types of things. You know, yeah, it's very important.
And safety. Safety is number one in the classroom, so you have to be on top of that as well.
Exactly, and I think without a doubt, you definitely need to love kids.
You have to love kids.
Love young people. You have to, yeah, you have to. You really do, you have to.
And that's really in any position, because even if a custodian is in the class, I mean in the school, if they don't like children, that's probably not the place they need to be.
Well, you know what, let me ask you all this. What positions are we really seeking to fill at this point?
At this point, with our certified, we're looking for math, science, and exceptional children are areas that we have a need for. So that's where we do a lot of our targeting during our job fairs.
Now, when you say math, like all levels of math?
All levels of math, mainly middle school and high school, and then science, middle and high. Elementary teachers we always have a need for, and then also exceptional children.
And for those who may not know what exceptional children, talk to me a little bit about those types of positions.
It could either be your SLD or specific learning disabled students who are getting support inside the classroom, where the teacher travels to different classrooms and then they also pull the students out. But then also with our children with special needs that may have a smaller classroom setting, that you have children with autism, possibly, that we have a high need for teachers in those fields as well. It can be very challenging.
Very challenging, oh yes. And then President, with you are looking to fill?
We are always trying to fill positions in our cafeterias. Our bus drivers, we have a high need for filling those positions.
But let me say, I hate to interrupt you, but let's go back to in the cafeteria. Do you have to have special training, or? You
don't have to have special training. We would like for you to have a high school diploma. The positions are part-time, so it does fit the need of some of our, say, our military spouses, and just like our bus drivers. It's not a full-time position. Now, one of the ways that we try to fill those bus driver positions is all of our classified employees at the schools, they have to be able to get a CDL. They have to be willing and able to drive a bus.
Okay, okay. So you said cafeteria workers?
Bus drivers.
Bus drivers.
Our prime time, which is our after-school program, that's another area that we have some difficulties trying to fill.
That's good then. So I mean, you all do your pitch. You need to do a pitch. Do you want to do a pitch?
Yes, let's
go and do your pitch. Go right ahead.
Cumberland County Schools, we're recruiting actively for primetime assistants, bus drivers, cafeteria staff. Go to our website and you will find the information on how to submit your application.
That's good. Now, I know one thing, once you submit your application, let's say you're considered for quite possibly employment, you have to go through a background check.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Now, talk to us a little bit about that process.
For classified employees, that's the very first thing we do is we check the background. Once the background has been cleared, we do use a vendor. We check for North Carolina as well as all the other states, and then we also check the sex offender registry.
Oh, yes.
And yes, that's important. And once the background is clear, then we can put them in a position that they are interested in, provided they do have all the other qualifications.
That's good.
And for teachers, it's the same process. We want to make sure that we're putting teachers in our classrooms that will provide a safe environment for our students. So it's very important to do that background check, and it's the same procedure.
That's good. Now, you all have been in our school system for many years, haven't you?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
How many for you, Tonya? And what positions have you served?
I started in 1989 as a classroom teacher, and then just went back to school and became an assistant principal and a principal, and now have the opportunity to work at HR. And I'm also a product of Cumberland County Schools.
Oh,
so I
yay.
do believe in the system. Yes, we have a wonderful system.
That's good. And you as well, President?
Well, my background is not education. My background is human resources. I started in Hawaii in the human resources field, but once I came here in 2000, I was the salary administrator before I got this position in 2004, working with the classified staff.
Yeah. So, and I just brought that out because you all see and you understand and you see it from the full angle of how so important it is to have people there that really care about our young people.
Right.
And I mean, and I think you're a product of the Cumberland County School, as I.
Yeah.
Golden Bulls. And you know, and it just makes all the difference in the world to have people there at our schools who care about and love our young people.
Absolutely.
All the difference in the world. Are there any last words, real quick last words about recruitment in the Cumberland County Schools?
If you're interested in teaching, please give me a call at the Human Resources and I'll set up an interview for you for the video.
All right. President, any last words?
Again, Cumberland County Schools, we're always actively seeking personnel to fulfill that need for our students. Teacher assistants, look us up on our website. We're always hiring. We do have some positions that we may not post on our website, but we're actively recruiting. And teacher assistants, bus drivers, primetime, cafeteria, those are some of the positions.
All right. Well, ladies, thank y'all for being here.
Thank you.
You know, I'm sorry if Ruben had to twist your arms to come, right?
Love being with you.
All right, thank you. All right, well, on behalf of the Cumberland County School System, we want to thank you for tuning in to this edition of our show and giving us a chance to help you get connected. Until next time.